Hi everyone, it's been so long since I posted a video, so I'm especially excited to share one for Etched's third annual Advent Calendar Extravaganza. There are over 100 special guests and 25 sponsored prizes over 25 days, so be sure to visit the link below for all of the details, as well as links to Tahira's blog. Today's sponsor is Catherine Pooler Designs, and it's my honor to be creating with Catherine Pooler products for this fun event. I also have a personal giveaway. This is the Here We Come A-Caroling 6x8-inch stamp set from the latest Stamp of Approval Winter Haven collection. This stamp set is no longer available for purchase, but it will be re-released sometime in the future, so keep an eye out for that. This is one of my favorite holiday stamp sets, so if you'd like to win this just in time for holiday card making, be sure to leave a comment below for your chance to win. I'm going to be using these 5 awesome ink colors as well as the Midnight Black, all from Catherine Pooler Designs. I'm also going to be using the Plaid background, which is currently out of stock but should be restocked very soon, as well as the 'Tis the Season stamp set and coordinating dies. These are also from the Winter Haven collection, so keep an eye for the stamp set to be released in the months to come. Since the Plaid background is a rubber cling stamp, I have to remove the foam sheet from the MISTI, otherwise it will be too thick and the lid won't close. I'm using a sheet of Catherine Pooler's premium white cardstock, and this is the smoothest cardstock ever. Her inks stamp beautifully on it. I'm going to use Mint to Be and Aquatini to ink up the Plaid background. I'm trying something totally new to me here, so it doesn't turn out as perfectly as I'd like, but it was fun to experiment, and I'm definitely going to use this technique again in different ways. I add Mint to Be along the top of the background and use a brayer to spread the ink down to the bottom, but I try to keep most of it towards the top of the stamp. The most important thing is to try and keep the pressure even as you're rolling, otherwise you'll get some streaks and uneven spots like I did. The first stamped layer is very light, so I'm going to repeat the process to get a bit more detail, as well as to even out the ink. I actually stamp it a third time, but I only use whatever ink is already on the brayer the third time. Since I want to create an ombre background where the top is darkest, I'm switching to Aquatini, and I'm going to lay down most of the ink at the top and brayer it down, trying to keep as little as possible from reaching the bottom where I want the mint to be to stand out. So I keep going as many times as it takes to get a result that I'm satisfied with. I use the brayer in all directions and in specific places that need more ink or need smoother coverage. Once I'm happy with it, I can set the panel aside to dry and start planning out the other elements of the card. Again, I'm using Catherine Pooler's premium white cardstock for the images from 'Tis the Season. I'm going to stamp the poinsettia in Party Dress. I always stamp at least 2 of each image, and sometimes more, so I have extras in case the stamping isn't perfect, or I decide that I need to add one more to the card. Next, I use Tiki Torch for the centers of the flowers. I go back to Party Dress for the single berries. Next, I stamp both the large and small clusters of berries, as well as the outline leaves with Aquatini. Then I use Mint to Be for the solid leaves. And I finish with Grass Skirt for the pine boughs. I love that the set offers the pine boughs in both directions to make laurels and flower arrangements look more natural. Now it's time to die cut all the pieces, trim the Plaid background panel, and start arranging flowers. At first I'm not sure if I want to use 1 or 2 poinsettias, but I decide to use 2 because I really love the Party Dress ink color. I use mini glue dots to adhere the centers onto the poinsettia and start moving all of the elements into their respective places. I'll fast forward through it since the flower arrangement takes me a very long time. Once my flower arrangement is done, I use an X-Acto knife and mini glue dots to hold the different pieces in place. After all the pieces are adhered together, I can move these images as if they were a single piece. Now I'm using the mini MISTI to stamp the sentiment from Here We Go A-Caroling, the same set I'm giving away. I love all of these sentiments equally, so I had a hard time choosing which one would fit better. I finally decide on Silent Night since it seems to nestle in the corner best. One petal of the poinsettia is in the way of the sentiment, so I'm going to double stamp the sentiment. First on the Plaid background, and then again on the poinsettia so that the petal doesn't cover up part of the word. Before I stamp the sentiment on the Plaid background, I make sure to remove the cluster. I ink up the stamp with Midnight ink and close the lid. Then I take a piece of acetate and place it on top of the background so that when I restamp the sentiment with the cluster in place, any extra ink won't stamp onto the background panel. I move the magnet so that it's holding all the pieces in place, ink up the stamp, and close the lid. Now when I remove the acetate and line up the flower arrangement with the sentiment on the Plaid background, it looks as if I stamped it all together just one time. To finish, I apply several zots onto the back of the cluster and permanently adhere it to the panel. I also want to apply a small glue dot underneath the petal that was stamped with a part of the sentiment, just to hold it in place so the script is perfectly lined up. Then I fold a white linen card base and adhere the panel to that. Now my card is done. Thanks so much for stopping by on day 1 of Tahira's Advent Calendar Extravaganza. Be sure to celebrate with her all month long, and don't forget to leave a comment here as well as on my blog for your chance to win my personal giveaway of the gorgeous Here We Come A-Caroling stamp set by Catherine Pooler Designs. Please refer to the supply links below if you're interested in any of the products I used in this video. You can also visit my blog for stills and more information about my card and giveaway. Thanks so much for watching!